DJ Tronchi.
Ando buscando, pensando, encontrando una forma de estar contigo un par de horas. No es que quiera hacerte a mi señora. Y no te preocupes, luego vemos si funciona. Tú pasas, te miro, te ves muy bien. Eres la más sexy, lo sabes. Dame ese cuerpito de una vez. Vamos a divertirnos que esta noche pa' pasarla bien. Y es que no aguanto las ganas de hacerte mía. Si te cansó la monotonía, yo te daré todo lo que él no te da. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. No tiene caso que yo sea tu amigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún contrato. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. De todo quiero hacer contigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún descanso. Oh, 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 oh. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. Oh, 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 oh. No me importa que seamos amigos. No sé si crees en coincidencias. Dime rápido que se me acaba la paciencia. Hagamos el amor y descartas esa inocencia. Vivamos la aventura que no tiene mucha ciencia, bebé. Tú me tocas, yo te toco y la pasamos muy bien. Si nos gusta otro día nos volvemos a ver. A la misma hora y en el mismo lugar. Tú y yo solito, mami, hasta el amanecer. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. No tiene caso que yo sea tu amigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún contrato. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. De todo quiero hacer contigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún descanso. Oh, 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 oh. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. Oh, 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 oh. Si te sientes sola, llama a cualquier hora. Toda mi vida te la pongo a tus pies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Permiso, solo ven conmigo. Te subo al cielo y no te dejo caer. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. No tiene caso que yo sea tu amigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún contrato. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. De todo quiero hacer contigo. Y si no quieres solo dame un rato, baby, pero sin ningún descanso. Oh, 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 oh. Dime si tú quieres andar conmigo. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Si te sientes sola, llama a cualquier hora. Toda mi vida te la pongo a tus pies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Permiso, solo ven conmigo. Te subo al cielo y no te dejo caer.
Hey, let's go. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, and you are tuned into a very special episode. This episode is sponsored by Tu Bachata Radio. We are also live on YouTube, Facebook, and tonight, people, we have a very, very special guest, a great friend of mine, all the way from the Rhode Island area, New England's own, Rhode Island's own, Mr. Brandon Contreras.
You know, nobody does intros like you, bro. Man blush.
my brother, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm good, bro. I'm, taking it day by day. COVID days. It's a crazy time. It's a weird time. It's definitely been a time for reflection, I think, for most of us. I'm thankful for dance because I think dance has given me the outlet I need to, even if it's just for a song in between my 15-minute break at work, but something to like put some energy into that doesn't require me to, work like a machine. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for me as well, I love it because that video I just posted earlier, that was me actually filming at the amazing Rhode Island Bachata Bash that you, as well as Mikey G from Pura Vida, put together this amazing event a couple years back in Rhode Island. And to be honest, Brandon, at least tonight is a chance to really celebrate, your success in my eyes from a person that has done business with you, that has worked with you, that he's partied with you. That is just, broke bread. At the end of the day, I mean, for me, this is a really special moment because I really feel people need to understand a person like yourself who's contributed and sacrificed so much to see the betterment of the community.
Wow. Man, you need to stop. No.
Man, I mean, tonight we're gonna get real. Tonight we're gonna get honest. Tonight we're gonna get transparent. Because I mean, we owe that. And for me, I would say is that my experience with you goes back to around 2016, and that was a very crazy year. And yes, we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that and how we met and everything. And also the amazing events in Rhode Island that you were able to throw and be a part of, and seeing your community grow. But at least before we get started as well, throughout the night, we'll be having some live comments coming in from different places. I don't see whose name this is, but right now somebody is saying, the man of the hour, the life of every party, suavemente. We'll figure out who said that, but, definitely you are the life of the party.
No, I try not to be. I promise. I just try to throw the party. That's it. I promise.
Yeah, man. But, Brandon, especially on this platform, we really love speaking, of course, about what we see on stage, from the performances, the workshops you've done. I think it's so much more important to understand the man before everything happened. So kind of give us a glimpse of who Brandon was before dance.
Well, first of all, Brandon was a boy when he wanted to dance. I say boy because I felt like, as you get older, you realize, there's a lot of growing. When you're in college or when you're in those 18 to 24, you feel like you're king or queen of the earth, that, you're immortal. And I feel like college for me was kind of a wake up call in a lot of different ways. So when I started dancing, it was my sophomore year of college, I think it was. I was originally part of a college dance team that was ran by LASA, it's Latin American Student Association. It was cool. We did a project. It was awesome. Then there was a group of us out of that team that wanted to do more, but wanted to do more with not just our own organization, but with everyone else within the college community. Because division back then was also you could tell where it was. You could see who were the Greek orgs. You could see who were the multicultural orgs. You could see who were, there was a lot of division even in college. So, I mean, and I mean, the mission for our dance team was, we don't just want to perform for certain crowds anymore. We want to perform for everyone. And it's not just to get, it's not for us to show off. It's more like for us to expose our culture and what we love to do and share it with everyone else. And that's actually why the founding group led by Jonathan Bolano and Sherry Prattis and a couple of other of us who were just sitting in a college dorm talking about it, we decided to call it Exposure. And Exposure became my dance home for the rest of my college career until I left. And then from there is where I actually met my first dance partner, who I started. That's where my dance journey started. I actually remember I stopped, halfway through my junior year of college. I actually started moving more towards just staying at home, and I was like, maybe school's not for me anymore. So, I respect anyone and everyone who gets it done. Period. Doesn't matter how long it takes you. But I respect the hell out of you for doing it, because that is commitment, no matter what anyone says. For me, my commitment was not there. That's not where my head's at. So I love dance. I wanted to keep dancing, but I knew I had to pay for it. So Brandon decided to not go to school anymore and decided to get a 9-to-5 at JCPenney. And I started taking lessons with Mambo Pati. Shout out to Alice. because he actually came to teach us a choreography when I was still in college. Like our organization brought him in Mori Granada when they were partners
yes.
back in the day. Yeah, this is throwback, man. This is when Carlos and Mori were partners. So they came out and collectively taught a choreography to us. And I just remember learning, and I'm like, is anybody else like as amped about this? Like, this is awesome. Like, this is different. This is great.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, that's when I started realizing, like, yeah, maybe school is not it. Dance is it. I like dance. I want to learn more, and I want to see where it leads. And I don't want to keep wasting money at college. So, yeah, hey, man. Hey, listen, I've always had like a very practical side of my mind, but I never ignored my artistic side either. But this side keeps me very grounded. Tells me where my personal limits are and my risk tolerance, where what I'm willing to give up, what I'm willing to do. So I feel like that helps as well. So anyways, push it forward. Took classes at Mambo, and then I was like, yo, dancing is cool. Salsa is fun. There's still a little itch that needs to get picked. I don't know what it is. And then I'll never forget when I first took my first Island Touch workshop at Mapati Studio. When I tell you, I was fanboying pretty hard. First thing I saw was Alemana. I'm like, oh wow, she's real. Like, she's not just this elegant dancer on YouTube who's killing it. And there's Ataka too, and I'm just like, whoa, I'm really about to learn from these people. Like, this is awesome. That one bachata workshop just kind of like warped me into this mindset where it's like, I like dancing, but I love bachata. I don't know what it is about it, but something's got me hooked, and I want to keep going with it. Wherever it takes me, I don't know where it's gonna go. So then I had to make a decision about where I'm going to get my resources, where I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And this is where I think I went a little rogue. I didn't really take the traditional route. You know, I took salsa classes for one session, but I didn't feel like I was getting, like that itch wasn't getting picked. So anyways, I decided to say, okay, well, I don't know anyone in Rhode Island who's actively teaching bachata or who is actively studying it. So I decided to do a little digging, and Lord and behold, there were workshops springing everywhere, and there were also festivals. When I say I thank Lee so much for the DC festival, like the DC Bachata Festival, I thank him so much, because the amount of like knowledge that he would bring to that festival, and for 1 week, it's mind-boggling. And I remember my first time going, and I was like a sponge. And I just remember saying, all right, I want to take as many bachata classes as I can. But I want to take as many beginner lessons as I can as well, because I wasn't a fool. Like, I knew I had to learn square A before going to square B. Even if square A, I didn't really learn it like everyone else did, but I was going to take my time to learn it as much as possible. So anyways, I started going to festivals, and I started thinking like, this is cool. And at that point, I had started already working with like this little group of, at that point, they were kids. They were teenagers. And I was like teaching quinces, and they just started like, these were kids that were like just nice. Like, I just thought at that time they were like, wow. I wonder where these kids go for the dancing. And I asked them, like, what do you guys do outside of this? None of them had a response. So I said, hey, listen, if it's okay with your parents, I'm going to throw on I'm going to get a little group together, and I'm going to do a little choreography, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll perform at the DR Festival, which in Rhode Island is a big performance, because that's one of the bigger events in Rhode Island. We did it. We made a little group. We got invited to a club on Broad Street. That was our first performance. Our second performance was at URI. And then out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but eventually we got invited to our first social to perform. And that was actually for Mambo Pati's 4th year anniversary. And back then I didn't know how crazy it was, but like the closers that year was obviously Malbati Pro, but Caribbean Soul.
It's funny you even said Mambo Bati because we got Mr. Carlos Gonzalez in the house representing
Hey,
right now.
hey, my January birthday brother. Yeah, shout out, man. Much love. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, like, I think I started dancing at a very fortunate time because, well, we'll get to that part. But anyways, from there, let's see. From there, we just started going to more socials. We started getting invited to more socials, and then I met Ina and Glenio, when they were hosting their socials at Fire and Ice. Man, that was the first time that I got like this little like slap in the face, like, oh, people respond to what you're doing. Like they are like, and mind you, by that time I've already performed at a couple of like socials. I've already taught like a few lessons here and there. Nothing crazy. Now I'm teaching in Boston, out of state, and Ina was so welcoming and so nice about it that she was like, listen, I have this vision for Thursdays that I want to bring in bachata, kizomba, and salsa, and I want to just put it all under one roof. Like I want there to be this all you can go to this one place and get everything. I said I love the idea because back then that was like now 2017, no 2015, and there really wasn't much of that going on. It's either you went to a bachata social or you went to a salsa social. You know that the bachata social was going to have maybe a salsa song for every 9 bachatas. And if you went to a salsa social, you were going to get a bachata and or a merengue followed by another 8 salsas. And that's just how the socials were back then. And because it worked, that's what people wanted. But then there was a growing popularity in the thought of just saying, why don't we just bring it all together? So I started noticing, those were the kind of people I wanted to work with. People who wanted to bring people together, not just focus on one thing. I identify as a bachata artist, bachata instructor, whatever it may be, because that's my focus. That's what I relate to. That's what I've pursued, what I've taken an interest in, and where my passion lies. But like you saw, actually, you were there for the bachata bash. I had a full on salsa room because I knew that at that time that's what I needed to do. Even if I wanted to have it all under one roof, realistically, Mikey and me came to the conclusion that why not just give the same amount of quality to both sides, the same amount of time, and just call it a day. Because at the end of the day, a salsero should be able to go into a salsa room and enjoy themselves, but also a bachatero should be able to go into a bachata room and be as happy as the salsero is in their room. So, and that's kind of the formula we've always worked on. And I think that little by little, I start to think maybe I can just start squeezing them into like one little sandwich. And I think that's what people have come to expect of me. Like, they know that if I'm going to throw an event, it is going to be respective to whatever is on the flyer. If I say it's going to be a salsa, bachata, kizomba, you're gonna hear salsa, bachata, and kizomba. How much of it we play, I've always said it depends on who's there. If you want to dance it that bad, we need that support. My DJ needs that energy. My DJ needs to feel you on that floor. And if you're not on the floor dancing to the tunes, what are we doing? So anyways, so Ina and I, we worked together for a long time, and it was really cool. Eventually, Rhode Island and Boston really bridged that gap because at one point, I forget, I think it was maybe 3 cars deep. We'd go up to Rhode Island, up to Fire and Ice, whether it was raining, snowing, hailing, hot. Man, I lose count of how many times I had to like pull over and like take a quick 45-minute nap because it was tiring driving up and down. But it was so much fun because, again, Ina and Glennia were putting on a production that, and along with Raj, because Raj was actually their DJ at that time. And yeah, man, Raj. So it makes sense that at that point it was him that was doing it. But you know, it made sense to me to keep showing love and support to that social because that's what I wanted to see more of. I wanted to see more collaboration. I wanted to see more people from different backgrounds, and just to feel comfortable in that one atmosphere, and not feel like just because you label yourself as a salsero that has to be like that. Like, no, you have the ability to go into a social and just be a dancer, or
Yeah.
you know, and same thing with any other genre out there.
No, I totally agree. And it's something interesting you said earlier because my wife, that you know, of course, we'll get to how that all transpired. But the interesting part is she was also in LASA in her college at Buffalo, University of Buffalo. So
Oh,
realizing, yeah, there was a LASA in the SUNY programs. So yeah, that's a really interesting fact to know. And now realizing, like you said, from starting your beginnings with Carlos and Maury, and then, like you said, the part of going rogue in a sense, I think what really it means is there comes a point in there's different types of dancers, people who just want to take a class here or two, or the people who are taking classes that ultimately gain an interest and then want to seek out for more because we realize that wherever we're from, the knowledge that we're being given to us, if it's only in that area specifically, you're only limited at those times. And like you said, you going on YouTube, seeing those videos, and then at one point meeting Ataka Alemana, and the beautiful thing of you actually meeting them and feeling that love, feeling that reception, feeling the warmth, feeling that embrace, rather than it just be someone teaching you for an hour or two. They're not just also teaching you, they're welcoming you.
yeah, man. I have to say, like they set a certain bar for the type of knowledge I was seeking. So like, you know, that so when I go out to look for people who I take lessons from, um, it's because they have something that maybe someone else isn't offering. Like when it comes to bachata in general, for me a big influence later on in my career was definitely Alex and Desiree. Big shout outs to them. When we talked about when they talked about the A&D Worldwide project, and I'll never forget. I was sitting it was at Bachatu, and I was just like, I'm really sitting down with Alex and Desiree talking about their project and that they want to bring it to Rhode Island, and you know, these are little things that like I feel like I stumbled onto these conversations, but I know that everything has a reason and everything happens for a reason. But
Yeah.
I'm so thankful and grateful to people like Alex and Desiree, like Ina and Glenio, like Maury, like Carlos, who saw something, whatever it was in me, and decided to invest in me in whichever way that you know they did. Whether it was knowledge, whether it was mentoring, whether it was
Yeah.
Mikey, for example. When it came to events, I knew how to be a part of an event. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily know how to run an event. And I feel like Mikey was the one who really like gave me the tools, the mentoring, and the vision to look at something and say, okay, what do the people need? Not what I want. Not what is it. What not? It's not what I want to give. It's what do they need? What are they looking for? And that's the whole reason that Bachata Bash came to Rhode Island, was because I saw that there was a need for it. And I remember bringing a group of Rhode Islanders up there, and we all came back collectively saying, "We need this. We need this here in Rhode Island because there's nothing like it." And I couldn't provide it because, unfortunately, I didn't know how to do it like that. I didn't know how to bring up a vision to light from the ground up. Mikey showed me, and from there on, you know, that's when, aside from Bachata Bash, I had Tu Movimiento, where I had you again. Oh man, Diamond, I
Oh
tell you,
yeah.
even but I remember that it was you. Oh, and then we had Soul Tricks as the DJ.
Yes.
We had
Even
Jenna.
Coronel.
Yep, we had Coronel. We had Coronel show up. We had Coronel out there. We had Jenna and Louise teaching, and we had Ina and Edwin teach Zouk. So, and it was actually the first time that like someone had done a Zouk class at a social in Rhode Island. So I was super excited about that. Because it was my opportunity to also, reciprocate the love that others have given me. So I try to, and that's the thing, when I invite you to an event, or when we do anything together, we're automatically fam. Like, that's it. Like, no, there's no other way around it. Like, Vladdy, Emerson, like, they know, I love them to death. They're awesome guys. And the thing is that they're genuine, and they show that they reciprocate that same love when I go down there with my brothers. So
question, what is that under your blue button down?
Oh, that's just a Viva la Bachata shirt. A little something. Yeah, just a little something. Little shameless plug for them. What's going on, guys? I love DC. Yo, DC has one of the funnest dance communities I've ever been to, man. DC, Boston, and New York definitely have to be like the ones that hit home. They have a real family there. So yeah, again, Mikey was one. So again, I've taken everything I've got, everything I have. It's because I've been taught it by someone who's doing it. I've never gone out and said, I'm just going to do it because that's just reckless. But I like to think that everything I've done, it reflects the people I've learned from, the quality of events I've held, lessons, performances, everything I've done. I like to think I've done to the best of my ability with the most, with as close a reflection of who I am or what my team represents. Example, Kizomba in Rhode Island. That was Junior Matthew. Carlos brought Junior to Tantric one night, and that's how I fell in love with Kizomba. I just saw Junior just teaching in class, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Back then, I only danced Pasada, and then I was like, I've never seen this before, and I fell in love with Kizomba. So I'm telling you, man, it's like I stumbled into these things, and I think that's what fuels my growth, is just stumbling and just saying just being open-minded to learning whatever I find, whatever I see, and bringing it back here and being able to do it for my community. Because at the end of the day, everything I do, I try to leave the impression that everyone is welcomed and that it's everyone's house when they step in.
No, I agree, because it's easy just to say it, but from a person like myself that's done business with you, that has worked at your events that you speak of, for me, Rhode Island, and if people don't know, we've also talked that, in a couple years, me and, the good old wife, we're heading out to Rhode Island and living our life out there, but in a little shameless plug for Rhode Island. But for me, I would say, especially, I noticed that with you throwing events and realizing a person like yourself coming from Rhode Island that's traveling to different socials, congresses, festivals, weekenders, you're learning so much about other cities and what they're doing, and then having the opportunity to then become that business person, become that event owner, organizer, and promoter. That really takes on a responsibility. But I think a key word is maturity, because it takes a person who's mature enough to understand the responsibility they are taking, because it is not easy of just being, like you said at one point, learning, taking classes, taking the time out and investing in yourself and going to train at those same artists that you've seen on YouTube. You wanted to train with them and being able to network. And I think that was really key, because what I really want to bring up was when we first met, and this was at the amazing, the unforgettable Bachatu by Island Touch Dance Company.
Yeah.
For me,
bring it back already.
Yeah, for me, I was going 2015, 2016. I was there. I met you 2016. I remember I had a little Canon power shot, and I was just filming everyone. Yes, we're gonna take it back when I had that little camera, and I still remember meeting the Rhode Island crew with all of you guys, and just seeing how much fun you guys were, but genuine fun. It wasn't like a play, a front. It was more like just people who had their own vibe, and I noticed people around you guys really gravitated towards y'all, and also me and you then talking and you telling me the first time we're meeting of this is what I want to do in my community. Mind you, we're at a
We
park,
did have that conversation.
but it was amazing because even at all of this fun and distraction that's in front of us, the fact that you talked about your city and what you wanted to see for it. And even though we're having fun and everything, you taking that moment to let me know that you wanted to be a person that contributed to your community in some way, that was what helped me gravitate towards you, because it was more of, wow, this is a person I would love to work with, because coming from New York, I've seen it all, especially in this dance scene. I still remember 2011, maybe 2012, when bachata was a little room. And, or like you said, in certain events, you only get maybe 2 bachata songs. So I remember
the whole social. So disrespectful.
And at least before we finish out, got to give a shout out to the wife, Miss Catherine here, saying, "Love how you're a humble person to welcome all in your community. Much love, and so glad Diamond has shown me genuine people in the scene like you." Big shout out to the wifey.
Damn it, you guys are too nice to me, man. Stop it.
And for me, I think it was great because, especially me really starting out with filming, bachata was really my first time taking out a camera at an event and just creating something. And I remember you telling me, yeah, I'm going to contact you because I want to work with you. And most times people just say it, but you actually did, right. And you actually called me back and gave me that opportunity. And I tell people it's you and Mikey specifically are the 2 people that have been most beneficial to me in my filming career, because you guys were the ones that gave me those opportunities of me taking the time and going 3-4 hours to Rhode Island to stay for a weekend and film your socials, and you just saying, do what you do. And that right there for me was amazing, because it was me getting my feet wet, but it was also me now meeting a new community and doing something for them, just like you were, of putting together these events. You were bringing your community, but through your networking, you were able to bring those people in. And I think that was really important.
I've been fortunate. I've been very fortunate with the people I've met, the people I've connected with, because I feel like again, it's all about energy. For example, when I first met Jenna and Luis, I met them at Fire and Ice, and honestly, it was how do I put it? It's almost like you didn't have to really mesh anything. It was just good. It was just good energy, and the fact that they were so committed to spreading bachata, but spreading it in a way where it was more family than just being part of a team. And that's something that Jen and Louise, I think, have done an amazing job doing and continue to do. Shout out on opening their studio, by the way. Congratulations. I mean, anyone who knows you and knows you from the beginning, I mean, that's been a long time coming. So congratulations.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, they're a big example. Mikey is another example of just it just worked. It was just a good friendship. Tina's another one who she was a great person to work with. We had a very short brief partnership where we worked we taught a class together. And you recorded like a little demo for us, which I think was really which I still have. But these are all people that I knew one way or another. They just had the flame that they were going to be around, and they were the people that wanted what for their community, what I wanted for mine, which was for it to grow and to be more inclusive. And those are the people I continue to connect with. Those are the people I continue to work with, because we have to get away from that. I'm a salsero, I'm a bachatero, I'm this, I'm that, because I feel like that just ends up hurting the community as a whole. So I think that's one of the reasons why Bachata Bash was so successful, because it was one of those black flag ships, black flag events where it didn't matter what school you went to.
Yes.
It didn't matter who your director was. It didn't matter what team you were on. It doesn't matter what state. It didn't. Nothing mattered. It just, you like bachata, there's a room for it. You like salsa, there's a room for it. You like both.
Yes.
I mean, they're both there. Like, and you know, for me, I laugh about it because it's like, for me, it's such an easy concept to digest and bring to life
Mhm.
that it at one point I looked at it and I'm just like, so why is this so hard again? For like, why isn't there more of it? But again, that's just who I am. I want my events to reflect my beliefs and what I think what my community wants.
Yes, because I think too, when I talked about the word maturity, you having the maturity now as an organizer to understand that when you talk about being collaborating or being inclusive, that also goes along with what you're trying to bring to the table. And what I mean by that, especially with music, as with DJs, and people are saying, what type of music are you playing? And you saying, not only I'm gonna play all types of music, but I'm also gonna have all types of rooms so everyone feels a part. Because what happens a lot is, especially when it comes to certain styles in certain cities, that's more prevalent. If it's more bachata based, most of the time your events are going to be bachata and maybe a little salsa or vice versa. But when you're an organizer saying, no, I'm going to give equal time to all styles, that allows people from other areas to say, wow, they have my music too. And I think that was really key because you networking yourself around the states and going to different events, even Dallas Bachata Festival, and just different places, and realizing that you were also a representation of your city. Because when people said, where are you from? And you say Rhode Island, most people are like, what?
Boston? And I'm like, no, not Boston, guys. Rhode Island. Like, there's a piece of land that's separated from Massachusetts. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And the next question would usually be like, there's bachata in Rhode Island?
But that was the thing too, and I remember those long nights of us talking and me telling you is the reason I came to Rhode Island, is because coming from a big city that is so filled with it already, I knew that I could take anything I learned from there and bring it here, but just with film, expose what the scene you have. Because people, if there's nothing to show for it, people don't know about it. So to say, hey, there is a Rhode Island bachata scene, there is places that you can dance at, and there's visuals so you can see the atmosphere. That's what also helps people bring people in. Like you said, you've had events that you've been able to invite some really amazing DJs that travel the world, bringing them to Rhode Island and them having an awesome time. And it's really the hospitality that you bring. I think it's also different because I think you take in terms of being an organizer in all levels. It's not just the financials. You really want to, yeah, you want to treat the person according and make sure they have a great time.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, business is business, but
Of course.
after we sign the contract, after the checks, everyone gets paid. I mean, that doesn't change my feeling about you. Like my artists will never know if I lost money, broke even. Like, I don't complain about that because thankfully enough, I've kept my 9 to 5. And I've learned to progress in that part of my life as well. So that alleviates my stress going into these events. So I can give it all. And for me, everyone else, as long as everyone else gets paid, as long as everyone who attends the event had a good time, I'm fine. And I mean, thankfully enough, I've never lost in an event. But again, whether, it just doesn't matter to me. What matters is whoever shows up has a good time, and whoever I hire has the opportunity to showcase what they would love to do. Whether it is a DJ, whether you are a photographer, whether you do video, whether you are an instructor. Like, listen, if I have the ability and the platform to open up those doors, why not? You know,
Yes.
why not? You know, even within my own community, I mean, thankfully enough, I a lot of my learning, how I said, I learned how to be a part of a group because of Team Fusion RI. For those of you who don't know, that's a collaborative that honestly was, to me, one of the best teams, the best team ups of instructors that you could have asked for. It was a dream team because the socials were always diverse and proud. They were always a good time, and it was a true reflection of what we wanted as a whole for our community. You know, so shout out to Martin Rivera for actually bringing on the Salsa con Soul project. He was the one who originally reached out to like all the instructors, got us all together, and then you know, that's where I started like observing. I've always been an observer because I'm the youngest. I am the youngest, like in Rhode Island right now. Like at that time, I was the youngest learning how to do events. I was the youngest learning how to even run a workshop. So I observed everyone, the things that work, and then the things that worked for me, and then the things that didn't quite work. Well, I learned it from someone else. But again, I know myself that if I don't if I don't like something, I'm not going to do it that way. But if I find a way to teach it or a way to execute it and it still come out the right way, then that's fine. Because I don't believe in taking shortcuts either. But I do want the event to look like that's definitely the Rhode Island Bachata Bash. Oh, that's definitely, then, you know, because I want my city to stick out, just like New York wants to stick out, just like DC wants to stick out,
Yes.
Chicago, Miami, you know, everyone wants their city to shine, point blank. I just wanted my city to shine for the right reasons. I wanted my city to shine because we have the events that everyone want to go to for the right reasons.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna say this hands down. This is my personal opinion. I think Rhode Island is one of the known or infamous. I mean, I wouldn't say infamous. I'm sorry, wrong choice of words. I would say the most well known party dance play. Yeah, you know the how should I say this? The people that come from
turn up hour. You can say what it is. That's what we had. Bachata Bash always had the turn up hour, of course.
Yes, I just say this. Even in Congresses, people remember the people from Rhode Island. I could definitely say that. Definitely very memorable people. And talking right now briefly about Rhode Island Bachata Bash. For me, you as well giving me that opportunity now, realizing this was kind of a congress and a festival for Rhode Island's dance scene, and realizing how important it was, not just for the success of the event, but to show how much Rhode Island has grown. Because don't get me wrong, Rhode Island's been around quite a while, especially with salsa, but with bachata, that still was a growing process. And you as well, with people like Carlos and other people being very focused on helping the community, and you creating the Rhode Island Bachata Bash, I think was one of the biggest events in Rhode Island, at least in the last 5 years, because not only was just the people in Rhode Island, but the people who outside of that came in had so much great things to say about it. I mean, from the workshops, from the parties, from the late night diner hours. I mean, everything just it was hitting the spot. I mean, for me, I would love to know, as a question, how would you describe the Rhode Island Bachata Bash?
How would I describe it? So I guess Rhode Island Bachata Bash, to me, what I wanted it to reflect was that Rhode Island is that melting pot, and you know, no matter how big or how small our melting pot is, it's still a melting pot. We have people from diverse backgrounds, and I wanted Bachata Bash to be that event that people looked forward to, because they were like, "That's my night to shine." Like, if the rest of my year is terrible, I want Bachata Bash to be the one that I feel amazing. Because I feel like we all need that. We all need that one night or that event to look forward to, because it makes you want to get, it makes you happy. It feeds you. It feeds you in a way that your job may not feed you. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I think Bachata Bash was for a lot of people. And you know, it's sad that we had to put a stop on it, put a hold on it, because it just, issues, how it comes with events. But rest assured, we had every intention on starting it up in 2020, but because this was 2019 and Mikey and I were talking about it for 2020. Of course, for obvious reasons, that has to get pushed. And I don't want to do a virtual event. I know that sounds like ew, but I mean, just for me personally, I just feel like the Rhode Island Bachata Bash should be felt live, because I just feel like once you get a taste of it, you'll see why it was growing at the rate it was, why people liked it so much. And again, I like to think it has nothing to do with me and everything to do with the talent that comes in, because that to me is what matters. That whoever came out to perform or teach, again, that they took that opportunity, showcased what they got, and that my community was gracious and receptive enough to just be open to those lessons and have a good time, and reciprocate that energy, because it can be weird, or it can be a little uncomfortable going into another community that isn't yours.
Yes.
Coming personally from somebody who's traveled, because even though you know that what you want to do is give them a good time, you still don't know who they are. And I feel like my community, I mean, from what I've seen, because I'm actually there, everyone is super receptive. I have to say, like, every workshop that we do at Rhode Island Bachata Bash is filled. Like, you've seen the ballroom. The ballroom is full from the beginning of the day to the end of the workshops in the day. And then at night, I mean, Diamond, if you remember, I had to like run through a little crowd of people to get to the door,
Yes.
because there were already people lining up to get into the workshops for that night. But again, it's because it's the energy was there, and I do my best to keep it there. And again, I will always pick artists that give you that same energy. So, yeah, that's what I want Rhode Island Bash. So that's what I wanted Rhode Island Bachata Bash to reflect. That again, this is your home. And if you don't live in Rhode Island, it doesn't matter. The door's still open for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely feel like I'm a point example, but especially that of how
you go to my parents' wedding.
Absolutely, yes. I feel, that was amazing.
For my parents' wedding, man. Come on, how personal does it get?
And realizing too, again, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. And what I mean is that was also something that drew me in, because, like I said earlier, was you cared so much about the community before your own needs. And that's what leaders do. Most leaders think in that same fashion of realizing, especially when you're running an event, people love, and I tell people this as a person who's owned a business at one point, realizing that people have to understand one person dealing with hundreds of people is different than 100 people dealing with one person. Ooh. And it's so different, because they can all directly talk to one person. You have to talk to many people, and you have to fulfill certain needs and expectations. But I would definitely say, from my time working at that event, it only got bigger. And not just in the New England area, in the tri-state area, people from other cities were coming. And I think that was when I noticed, I knew you were doing something right from the beginning, but now there was the evidence of that, because now you're doing the same thing that the leaders that you looked up to were doing, was influencing communities. And that's why for me, it's like I was able to see, and I appreciate having this talk with you, because to tell you and to celebrate what you've been able to do. And it's not like you said, you're not the first. It's not about being the first. It's just about, what do you want to contribute? What do you want to bring to the table for the people? Because when you have an event, you're allowing people to come in from the local area or abroad, and realizing that, you want to make people happy so they come again. And I definitely say, from the events you've thrown over the years, you definitely have done that and beyond. And you've been actually that person that brings those special acts in, the Alex and Desirees, the Rudies, the Immersives, the Soul Trixes. I mean, this there's been so many groups. I mean, it really was like a Congress, and that studio was beautiful. I mean,
Shout out
just
to Studio One in Lincoln. Yeah. Nah, they not. Studio One was good to us. They were a good hosting family. Hope they're doing well. I mean, again, shout out to you guys. Miss you guys.
absolutely. And as well here, he's giving some love to my boy Biscuit, all the way from London with his podcast, Sinfiltro TV.
Oh, big hug. Big hug. Thank you.
Yes, man. And realizing again is that, real seeing where you started from just a novice dancer, learning, gaining that interest, and then like most people did in our times of on YouTube, looking at what interests you, and you find people like Ataka Lamana, you find the Alex and Desiree's, you find those people throughout your travels, and now you're bringing all of that knowledge you learned back to your home, and that's what leaders do. And again, Brandon, from those times that I met you till now, you've been nothing short of a leader. And always remember, as a leader, you were once a follower. You had to follow in order to lead.
Man, I'm still following, man. I'm still here following people's leads because there's always something else to learn from someone else, man. And I think those people continue to be the leaders. Whichever generation. Me, I never really thought of myself as a leader. I just thought myself as like a provider. Like I'm able to provide this for them, so I'm going to do it. Make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So then, question now: you've been able to do the bachata bashes, and we're kind of moving forward, even with COVID, but also realizing, but pre-COVID, you giving back to your community of now teaching and kind of building that new generation of dancers in Rhode Island, specifically with bachata, as well as your kizomba work, because many people didn't know that, you were doing kizomba, and then, you would do your classes. So to see you were kind of hitting multiple styles and understanding that the responsibility you have, because the content and the education you're giving the people is meaningful because they become the representations of you. But,
yes,
at least before we get into that, someone has a question here. I don't know whose name, but it says, how would you describe the relationship between the dance companies and RI from when you started till now?
I would honestly say that it's definitely more united. Again, I think that I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Team Fusion RI collaborative because we used that platform with one mission. It was to just bring everyone together and to just get everyone under one roof. So, and I think that after we did that for about 3 years. If any of you are on there, Martin, Maury, anyone want to correct me, but I think we were there for 3 years solid. And the only reason why we stopped was because the venue was sold off to become a restaurant. But after that, you definitely saw other students going to other socials, and that overlap, may have been slowed down a little bit because of COVID, but I don't see why it won't continue to be more united. But I think it's a lot more united now than when I started, definitely.
Awesome.
But again, I contribute that to when I started. When I started, there was a lot of shifts. There were a lot of shifts in Rhode Island. So at that time, you had Martin and Sydney, JJ Latin, and then it was Maupati. And then there were some shifts in leadership, and then there were some people who started their own dance companies, and the community was growing. And obviously, that's going to have bumps because now you're adding more ingredients to your sancocho. You know what I'm saying? So now it's a little different because now you're adding a little some in there that wasn't there before. And some people are gonna like the sancocho the way it tastes right off the bat. And then there's gonna be a few that are like, I like it, but I don't love it just yet. And you know the thing is, but everyone slowly learned to like it and love it. And which brings me to my most recent social, which was La Noche, which I think was like kind of like where I was going to start training the way for the next generation to start. But yeah.
I love it. I definitely love that answer. So question is then, I would love to know, we've now we're in 2021. How was 2020 for you? Kind of that year of realizing at one point we had these socials upcoming, maybe like yourself as an organizer, we're planning events ahead. And just basically in one fell swoop, everything changed. How was that kind of transition for you, and how are you really able to recover with that?
You know, 2020 for me was interesting. I said it on my birthday post, I had my blessings, I had my lessons. It was a good year and it was a bad year as well. But for me, dance wise, it had such a strong start. So when the engine's revving, you're just ready to just take off for the year or just take off. That's where I was feeling. And I was feeling that energy because we did have La Noche starting, and they had and we were my thing was I wanted to promote strictly local talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like Martin come in and with his partner Chrissy. I had Maury come in. Yeah, had Maury come in, and then I was gonna have JJ Latin dance, and I was also gonna invite Malbati. Malbati was actually going to be the next one, but COVID kind of cut that short for us, unfortunately. But and then obviously I had my sessions, my bachata sessions,
Yeah.
my intro to bachata. Um, Thankfully, I sold out my first two sessions. The second one I had to cancel because I didn't want to do anything virtual. So I obviously just hit the big old refund button, and everybody got their money back. I just left it at that. Thankfully enough, though, it forced me to look at my dancing and reevaluate where I was and if I was happy doing what I was doing. And I felt like teaching wise, I love teaching bachata and I love what I do with my events, but I know there are people who don't have access to those resources, who don't have access to those outlets. And that's, I think, where I wanted to go next, and which I did, because again, stumbled upon this. Somebody I went to college with, a good friend of mine, became a councilwoman for her city. And honestly, this was before she even got elected. I was like, hey, Tatiana, I see that you're doing a lot of community work in Seattle, in your city. If you need any help or if you want to work together, let's do it. Nothing ever happened. Schedules never worked. I was busy. She was busy. Whatever. But then this happened. I joined the Rhode Island Latino Arts Association organization, and then basically they do what I want to do. They do art. They promote art within the school community. I'm doing high school. I'm working with high school kids right now. So, and you have others who are working with kids in 7th grade, 6th grade, middle schoolers, junior high. And that kind of like rejuvenated me in a sense, because I was like, wow, this feels good. This feels like this is what I need to be doing right now. If I can't do anything else, this is what I need to be doing right now, at least. So I said, okay, let's do it. 7 weeks, 7-week commitment. And right now it's honestly, I look forward to it every Tuesday. And it's awesome because I have a diverse class right now. I have a little Cape Verdean and I have Dominican. So so I'm teaching them little concepts subliminally. I want to make I don't want to make things a lesson. I want to make it a conversation, because I think that's how people learn the best, is by conversing about it. So we talk about language barriers, but we'd say it in a way like, hey, listen, you're going to pick this song you're going to pick our party song next week, but your job is to translate this so that everyone else knows what the song is saying. But you know what? To them, it's a conversation. I definitely don't make it sound like a homework assignment, because they get to pick the song. It's literally just them having to just translate what the song is about. And I think, to me, that is bridging gaps, because these are things that I don't think they would do in a music class in school. I don't think they're going to be like, hey, this song means this in Portuguese, and this is what the song's about. No, they're probably just they're not going to teach things about breaking down language barriers and how to understand different people's culture. That's not it's not built into our school system, unfortunately.
Wow. Wow. I mean, just realizing how much you've been able to contribute on a dance level as an organizer, now really as an educator and helping people through language really connect with one another. I mean, it just shows really just the humility within you, the effort that you put in, and the hard work that you put in to really change people's lives. And I think now it kind of helps us, transition into a lighter moment into our segment, our last segment called the randoms, where we have
Oh,
about 10 questions that
sheesh.
help myself and others get to know you better. But before we get started, we have a comment here by Mr. Martin Rivera Baldera saying it's almost therapeutic to listen to someone else's journey who got to experience the transitions and evolution of a community that has such transformations. The ongoing commitment hasn't changed, other
There's
than the
only
drive and ideas shared as dance artists. Mr. Martin
wow.
Rivera, yes,
Had to
I've
be. Had to be. Shout
I
out to
had to.
the Team Fusion family out there, Martin, and to Al too. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Um, yeah, see, no, that's fam right there.
Yeah.
Again, and the thing is that, truth be told, I don't think the majority, like, we haven't spoken, like, as a community, we haven't really spoken amongst ourselves that long at all. Um, but it's nice because we recently started communicating again, and honestly, I feel like we're just picking up where we left off,
Mm,
which is definitely a different atmosphere than when we all initially got together. So, I mean, even that in itself just shows that progress is real, unity is possible. It's just work, and
yeah.
you have to be able to put in the work, whether you are an event coordinator, but even as a social dancer, even as just a student. I respect and I admire, I appreciate all the students out there who don't just take lessons with me. I love the fact that there's students that take lessons with other instructors and that those students take lessons with me. I love seeing that because in some cities that's still unheard of. And it's sad to hear, but it's awesome to see when it's happening in your city. Like, because when you first started dancing, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It just, like, for me, it really wasn't a thing to see that, and to see that now more than ever, and to see that now people are like, I refer, like, when it comes to salsa, I never take a single student. I have
Mhm,
I have never I have never taken a single student for salsa because that's just not something I teach.
mhm.
Whenever anyone says, "Hey, I want to learn salsa," awesome. Here are the people. Here's their Facebook. Reach out to them, and then have at it. Like, go where you go to whoever fits what you.
Yes.
But I'll never, because again, that's an investment that they've made, and that's to be respected. So again, anybody who comes to me about salsa lessons, I will humbly say no, thank you. And these are the people that I recommend, because I know personally that they're all different, and they all offer salsa, or they offer dance in with a different dynamic, because they're all different personalities. And I think that that's an advantage that some people have about being in a part of a small community, is that you get
Yeah.
the diversity and not have it being overwhelming. Because I know in New York, if I were to say, yo, I want to learn a salsa on two beginner level, yo, I know that I'm going to find like at least 40 freaking classes, at least.
Definitely. Definitely.
And that to me is overwhelming as all hell. Like, I think for me personally, I think that's why if I like that's why I'm very scared of taking classes in New York, because I just feel like I'd be like, who do I even start with, type of thing. And you don't want to miss certain people, God forbid. So
But that's where it's like you have to really do that research and see,
mhm.
because also in New York, even with on two, certain dance schools have a certain style of how they do it. I think everybody just has their own way of going about things. And at least, like you said, in Rhode Island, you get to see that diversity at a smaller fraction, and you get to digest it easier than just going to New York and all right, is there like one class? No, there's many. But
Mhm.
I think as well with you and many other people like Martin and others in the community in Rhode Island that have been putting that work in. I know your community has seen it because so many people ask about when the next Rhode Island Bachata Bash is going to happen. And I tell you this, and hopefully in the future, when things are definitely at a normal, you'll definitely see me there. And hopefully when I officially move, we can really have those events and really put that whole Rhode Island community on another level.
I mean, you're just gonna be in charge of media at that point. I mean, like, here's the media. Just do
Yeah.
what you want to do with it. Like, just go because you know what it is, man. I've always loved your work, and honestly, like, I think that's why we've always worked out. We've always worked out so well on the business sides because we have a shared vision and we have a mutual respect for what we do. And I
Yes.
think that's important with any relationship that you build. Period. That as long as you have that mutual respect, there's no reason why any relationship should go sour. If it goes ghost, that's different. I think that ghosting, not just not talking to each other and being sour are two different things. So I like to think that my relationships or my business interactions, have left no one in the dust. And I feel like anybody that I've done business with can look at me and say, I mean, yeah, you took care of me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Had
and
a hell of a time.
no, you're definitely right. And now we can, transition now to our segment to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm already gonna hit you with that first question.
Mm,
All right, let me ask you this. Someone comes to Rhode Island
mm.
and they said, I am hungry. Where's the first place you take them to?
Oh, you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me which meal we talking. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
We're talking about dinner right before the social. I'm really on. You can, yeah. I'll say evening.
Okay,
Time,
all
dinner
right.
time.
Yeah, Los Andes.
Mm.
Los Andes.
Dominican spot.
Peruvian. That's
Peruvian.
La Gran Parada. Actually, for me now, I have to shift over. It's El Bojote now. So Dominican food would be in Mojote.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. I definitely want to check that out in the future.
Definitely.
Next question would be, if you can close your eyes and open them right now, you would be at a social besides your own in Rhode Island or Congress or festival event. What would that be?
Oh, it would have to be Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice, if I could like go back in time, it would be the Fire and Ice
Yeah.
social. Definitely. Or Team Fusion RI. That's technically not
It's all good. It's all good. All right. Next question. What would be your dream vacation destination?
Egypt. Egypt actually. Or Greece.
Okay. I like that. All right. Next question. What did you want to be at 10 years old?
A lawyer. Don't ask.
Don't worry, I won't. That's awesome. I haven't heard that answer yet. Next question. What would be your spirit animal?
A blue eyes white dragon.
From Yu-Gi-Oh!
Thank you. Yes.
All
No,
right.
I mean honestly, no, a wolf.
Okay.
I'd say a wolf. I feel like a wolf runs well in a pack, but can also run well on its own if it needs to. It can be a leader, but it also knows how to transition into a follower, and vice versa. So yeah, a wolf.
All right. Next question. What is the least favorite thing that you like from a person that is dancing with you? What's a big don't for Brandon?
Oh, don't body roll while we're dancing traditional.
Thank you.
Honestly, that's it for me. I mean, I'll finish the dance, but yeah, no. And obviously hygiene, but I think that just goes without saying, right?
Yes, hygiene and body rolls do not mix.
All right.
So yes, I like that. All right, next question. What would be your superpower?
I would like to be invisible.
Okay.
I have this thing about being an observer.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I'm out in a social gathering, I find myself tuning out and just observing. And sometimes I wish I was just invisible so I could really take the entire lesson in. So I feel like you miss things sometimes that are going on around you. And I feel like yeah, that'd be a good superpower to have. Just be able to just be invisible and just observe as much as I want, and then, okay, guys, I'm back.
All right, perfect. All right, next question. Name 3 people that have been most influential to you at this point in your life.
Okay. Phew. Most influential, just across the board in life.
It can be life or even dance related. And
All
if
right.
you have family, of course, you can bunch them into one.
No, of course, of course. Well, honestly, my family is a very big part of who I am and what I do and how I do things. Specifically my brother. My brother is my travel buddy.
Derek,
Yeah, man,
Derek,
shout out to Derek. No, the kid's a hell of a dancer. He's
and
gifted.
and he's a hell of a Call of Duty player, I hear as well.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, play Call of Duty. Just I just won't be playing with you guys. Gaming, gamers, you scare me. I've heard and seen savagery when people play. That's just like unnecessary. I don't need it.
Yes.
But my brother is definitely one of them. More importantly, then I think it would be Maury would be another one. I think Team Fusion, all right. I like to group them because again, like they did mentor me, but my family, TM Fusion, all right. And then individually, I think my actually Contu Master Tigre. He's actually one of my martial arts instructors from back in the day. Master Tigre actually. And he was. I had 3 instructors, but out of the 3, he was the one who continued even after I left the school. He still continued to reach out to me, and we still continued to speak. And even now, and even like at some point when I actually started teaching my lessons, he actually took the time to sit down with me and just broke down the concept of being a teacher, just a teacher in general, not just necessarily giving a lesson, but what you should be doing and what you should be providing as a teacher. And those are moments, and those are moments, and those are people that you carry with you. So big shout out to New Wave Self Defense out there. Huge part of my life growing up. Martial arts was a huge part of my life for a long time, actually. I think only rivaled by dancing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I like those answers. So now the second before last question would be, if you could have one follow right now you could dance with, who would that be?
One follow? That's it?
One follow.
Oh man.
And I'm gonna give you an extra on that. One follow and one song.
Oh, Damn. All right, so the song I would pick is El Villano. I love that song, El Villano. I heard it through one of DJ Soldier's streams. Fell in love with the song. And the follow, I think my follow would have to be my follow would have to be Francesca from New York. Frenchie. Yeah. Either Frenchie or Blanca. Blanca, who she used to be the director of Alma Boston, then she moved out to Spain for a while. Or England, sorry. But yeah, she was also one of my favorite follows of all time. I think I had my best dances in Boston because of Blanca, and my best dances in New York because of Frenchie.
All right. I love it. All right, last question. Last question is, and it's the island question. It goes like this: if you're on an island, disclaimer, there is no Wi-Fi on this island. What are 3 things that you would have to have with you?
All right, so I would have to have a book, Art of War. I would need unlimited Rice Krispie treats. And I would probably need man, you know what? Just give me all the fresh water I could have.
Thank you. Oh my God, I haven't heard anybody say water, fresh water,
Rice Krispie treats, and the Art of War. I guess that's all I need to survive.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Brandon, for doing this segment. I love doing these because it helps me and the audience get to know you a lot better. And now it brings us to our conclusion of our discussion tonight. And I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on because just as much as I appreciate you, we've had our moments, we've had our experiences, whether it be dancing, filming, you would have it. For me, I think you've been a very important piece. And becoming really a pillar in the Rhode Island community. And I know for these last at least close to 5 years, you've done as much as you can to contribute. And I know your community sees it. Just as much as people can't wait for the next Rhode Island Bachata Bash, I just definitely can't wait to see you and your family again because I definitely love you guys as a whole. But at least before we do close out, I would love to know if you had any last few words for myself, but also the audience, and also any contact information on how people can reach you and maybe any future projects you may have coming up.
So first off, Diamond, thank you. I've been saying it on my post and I mean it, man. For me, it's a privilege to be on here, because this is a testament of your hard work, and your contributions to the dance community. Again, seeing you from, where you were at Bachatu to where you're at now is, I mean, that's a success story right there, my friend. And you deserve every bit of it. So I'm proud of you, and I want you to, and I hope everything keeps going for you as well as it has, if not better, because you deserve it. And honestly, you're giving something to our community that anyone can do, but not everyone should.
Yes.
And I think that you're the right person to do it because you have that personality, that you're personable, but you're also very you bring out the transparency in people, and that's something that not everyone can do. So and you obviously maintain that mutual respect throughout the whole thing. So I appreciate you, man. So thank you, and to the audience, everyone who tuned in, thank you. As far as projects are concerned, me and Jackie are working on a couple of things. Jackie Sequin, it's my ride or die. Shout out to her. She's
Big shout out to Jackie.
Jackie's been my ride or die for years, man. So thankful to her. She's the one. Honestly, if I didn't have Jackie, I don't know where I'd be, like teaching wise, because that girl, she keeps me on, accountable. So
Yes.
I appreciate her, and even when she doesn't want to work, she still shows up and gets it done with me. So. And as far as my contact info, I'm on Instagram, Fuego 1018, YouTube, Pasos Sensual DC, and then Facebook, Brandon Contreras. Again, thank you guys. Thank you for having me. And hopefully 2021, we'll see La Noche come back with DJ Bam Bam and Christy back in the game. Shouts to them as well, because they're the team. They're my team for the La Noche Social. So hopefully we see them. Team Fusion RI. I just want to let y'all know we have a little some cooking up, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a little community project. I'm looking forward to that. And that's it, I think, for now. So yeah, that's that.
My brother, honestly, again, I thank you again for taking your time out of your busy day, just to be able to talk to myself and talk to many other people. We've been able to have these one-on-ones, but now I can have people appreciate what I appreciate. And again, it's your humility, your honesty, and transparency. And I definitely feel tonight I've gotten to know a little bit more about you as well as the audience. And like I tell all of my guests, I feel like this is a part one to hopefully more parts, meaning is I would love to have you on in the future, and maybe even doing a panel, maybe even doing a Team Fusion RI panel.
Maury, you hear that? Carlos, yeah. You hear that? Maury.
I mean, let's bring the people of Rhode Island to the platform, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about new things that will happen, because again, besides yourself, there are other people involved that are helping to bring something to the Rhode Island community. In any way that I can help, I gladly will. But again, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And again, everyone, please stay safe, and we will see you on the next episode. Everyone, have a great night.